Hey gang, and welcome to Sensation of Perception. I will be your guide this semester. My name is Alex. You can call me Professor D, Professor A, Dr. D. You can call me Alex. I really don't care. I'm excited to work with you. And the reason why I'm excited to work with you is because I really like this class. I really like Sensation of Perception. And if I'm being honest with you, when I first taught this class 5 years ago or so, I liked it, but I will admit that it was kind of intimidating because this is kind of a hard class. This is a very technical class. And I remember taking this class whenever I was in college and really liking it, but it's tough. However, every single time that I teach it, I like it more and more and more. I learn a whole lot. You're going to learn a whole lot. And every semester, I find something new and something fascinating in sensation and perception. And part of that is because we are kind of on the cutting edge of technology, the cutting edge of science. We're going to be looking at a lot of findings that have only really come to us in the past couple of years. So enough of the chit chat. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about this optical illusion. If you're looking at this, it should be moving before your eyes. If you want to pause this video, though, you'll find that this is not animated, it's not a cartoon, it's not actually moving, but your eyes are going to perceive it as moving. If it's not working for you, then stop looking at me and look down at the pattern. Let your eyes kind of drift around over it, and you'll find that it seems like it's moving in waves, right? Maybe you've seen this before. You've probably seen it on the internet before. It was Animal Collective's album artwork for Merriweather Post Pavilion for all the hipsters out there. But we're going to be talking about why this works in Chapter 8 when we talk about motion perception. In this case, it's not actually moving, but we perceive it to be moving. Another example, and maybe you're saying like, okay, but this is only mildly interesting. That's okay. What about this one? I know a lot of people like this optical illusion, right? What is this? This is the famous dress that 4 years ago or whatever, people got really upset about. Why? Because 2/3 of the population see this as a blue and black dress. 1/3 of the population see it as a white and gold dress. Which is it actually? I'm not going to tell you, and I'm not going to tell you why some people perceive it differently. I will tell you in 5 weeks' time. So be sure to stay enrolled in the class, and I'll explain why exactly this dress appears different colors for different people. Here is another example of a color illusion. And so maybe you're saying, but hey, Dr. Daniel, this is just an American flag that's miscolored. And you would be correct, but what I encourage you to do is just stare at that dot. So let your eyes soak in that flag. Don't move your eyes too much. Just soak it in. And while you're staring at that, I will talk about something. What am I going to talk about? In this video, I'm going to show you maybe one or two more optical illusions. And then I'm going to look at the syllabus with you, and then we're going to look through Plato together to look at what this course looks like. Okay, so your eyes should have adjusted to this weird flag. So in 3, 2, 1... Now you should see an after image, and it's going to fade pretty quickly for some people, but you should see an after image that is red, white, and blue. And again, there's no tricks here. If you want to, you can rewind, and you'll note that I didn't put in like a fading flag to mess with you. This is your retina. This is your visual cortex playing tricks on you. We'll talk more about that in Chapter 5. One more. That's kind of weird is if you focus right here in this fixation cue, you'll see that all of these celebrities, or at least people who were pretty popular 10 years ago, their faces appear very distorted, right? But if you were to look to the left or look to the right at any of these faces, you'll see that these faces are perfectly normal, they're perfectly proportioned, they're not really all that weird. So why is that? We perceive faces a little bit differently whenever they are in the corner of our eye. We perceive them differently when we look at them head on. Why is that? Stay tuned. Chapter 4, we'll talk about face perception. Okay, so let's get into the business then. Let's talk a little bit about the syllabus. So you'll find the syllabus posted on Plato. I'm going to run through it very quickly with you. A little peek behind the curtain. I did originally have kind of a lecture slideshow walking through this point by point, but it was really boring, and I thought it might be a little more interactive to show you the document, and we can go through it together. So here you'll see this is the name of the department. this is the name of the course, or the number of the course, and this is the section of the course, and this is a colon. All right, you don't need that much detail. I get it. All right, so this is an online class. This is an online class, which basically means that we're going to be doing a lot of stuff online. And I know that sounds silly, but what that means is that I am going to expect you to stay with the online portion of the class. I know that life gets in the way, and sometimes you don't have internet, but that's one of the sacrifices that both of us have to make whenever we are doing online classes. I have to stay connected to the internet just like you have to stay connected to the internet every single week, probably every single day. If you don't like the online stuff, you can find me in my office, and here are my tentative office hours. Drop by anytime. I'm super excited to see students from my online classes. Last semester I had a couple of people drop by from my online classes, and it was like the highlight of my year. It's really, really cool. And my office smells good because my mom gave me a lot of essential oils that smell really good, and I burn them because I don't know what else to do with them. So my office smells good, and it makes me happy. So 2 really good reasons why you should stop by my office. The third good reason is that sometimes I will give you tips and hints for the exam if you do that. So I'll see you there. So that's where my office is in Wilson Hall. If you can't stop by my office, then let me know, and we can go to this virtual office. This virtual office, you click on that link, and it sends you to this chat room. In this chat room, we can communicate through text, or we can communicate through sound, or we can communicate through like Skype, basically. It's up to you. So highly recommend that. The textbook, I emailed you a month before class started about this textbook. I love this textbook. I use it every single semester. I've looked at a lot of other textbooks, but this one is my favorite. And not every student likes this textbook, and usually whenever people don't like it, they feel like it's too complicated, or it's too complex, or it's too much details. That's okay. What I see my purpose as in this class is as an interpreter, kind of. A lot of this stuff is really technical. That's okay. That's why I'm going to be posting a lot of lecture materials, a lot of videos that are going to break down these really complicated ideas into something that's a little bit more manageable for an undergraduate audience. So that is the textbook. You can get the 4th edition. The 4th and 5th edition are very, very similar, so you can save yourself some money to do that. However, the quizzes that I'm going to be putting together, I'm going to be drawing from material in the 5th edition. Like I said, for the most part, most of the things are identical, but if there are some differences, it's because I'm using the 5th edition. Here is a quick kind of, this was a spiel that I wrote to try to get you interested in sensation and perception, but you don't even have to read this because I just showed you some cool optical illusions, right? Cool. All right, so let's move on. The grades, one of the more important things about a syllabus, right, is, or actually we know what the most important things are about a syllabus. 2 things, right? One is what kind of assignments you have, and second is do you actually need to show up to class? The answer for the second one is no, because it's online, but you still need to log in, you still need to check in with the class a lot. So let's look at the assignments. We have exams, quizzes, activities / discussions, and research articles. Very briefly, the exams, there's going to be 4 of these throughout the semester. So that means they're worth about 10% of your grade. If you don't do one of them, that costs you an entire letter grade. So even if you're not feeling comfortable about an exam, just log in and guess, because it's better than getting an entire letter grade knocked off your grade. So these exams are going to be a mix of short answer, a mix of fill in the blank, and maybe even some multiple choice. And they are, these exams are going to cover the textbook, they're going to cover the lecture videos that I post, they're going to cover the research articles that you're going to find, and they're going to cover the discussions that we talk about. So it's pretty much everything is fair game for these exams. The final exam is going to be cumulative, but it's going to be kind of split in half. Most of that final exam is going to be dedicated to the last 4 chapters of the textbook. And there will be a little bit of the cumulative stuff, but it's not meant to be punishing. We'll talk more about that as the semester goes on. You can take these online, or you have to take them online, which means that they're basically open book and open notes and open internet. However, I can't emphasize this enough. There's so many people who have just copy and pasted stuff or paraphrase stuff from other sources online, and that can cost you your grade. Don't do it. If you don't know an answer and you need to refer to your notes or need to refer to Wikipedia or something like that, be sure to write about that in your answer. Cover your bases. Cite any kind of information that's not explicitly yours, so that way you don't plagiarize, and that way you don't have to go in front of academic affairs and try to explain why you didn't know that was a big deal. We'll talk more about that as the semester goes on, but let's just not do that. Okay, the way that we'll handle the other grades are through quizzes, activities, and research articles. So let's look at that. This second page is going to give you a rundown of all of these different kinds of assignments. The quizzes, these are going to be about a dozen questions per chapter, and they're going to be due at the end of the week, so Sunday before midnight. So you can take it as many times as you want to, but the first attempt is the only one that will count towards your grade. So be sure that you read the chapter and then take the quiz. They're not meant to be hard, and in fact, I try to make them easy so that way you can do them before you really get into the chapter, really. So that way you can kind of skim through, familiarize yourself with the chapter, and then read it once more to really get familiar with the material. So the research articles, those are also posted on Plato. They are going to be due before the exams are due. I'll show you more about that in a minute. But basically, I'm going to give you a research article. You'll download it, you'll read it, and then there's going to be several questions that I'm going to ask that you have to write about. And there's a rubric posted online that I'll show you, and I'll point out in just a minute. And then finally, we have online discussions. So these discussions are going to be a wide variety of activities, basically. Some of them are going to be optical illusions. Some of them are going to be documentaries that you can watch and then write about. Some of them are going to be little perceptual tests that you can take. I try to mix it up to keep it interesting and keep it fun. Basically, there will be some questions you need to respond to, and then you need to reply to one other student. That's all you got to do. And it's based on a 10-point scale. Basically, if you do everything and you do a really great job, you go above and beyond, you get a 10. If you do basically you do a good effort, you get a 9, and then if you do like the bare minimum, you get a little bit less than that. There's a rubric posted online to walk you through that as well. I already talked about office hours, and I talked about academic honesty, such as plagiarism. Familiarize yourself with those things. There is no makeup policy because a lot of the stuff is going to be available to you well ahead of time. Almost everything is going to be posted at least 7 days before it's due, so that way you have plenty of time. If you are like in the National Guard and you're going to be training or something like that, and you're going to be away from your computer for a really long time, that's okay. Just let me know, so that way we can work around those types of things. But if you just say, hey, I totally forgot, LOL, and I slept in, that means you must have slept in for 8 days. So it means you got bigger problems than just missing a quiz. But take care of those as soon as you can. Don't wait for the Sunday that they're due. It's going to stress you out. Don't do it. I've taken online classes. I know how that works. It makes you feel so much better if you get these done a couple of days ahead of time. If you have any kind of accommodations, please let me know. I'm super happy to work with you on these types of things if you need extra time or anything like that for the exams. Other information there for you if you're interested. Here is the week-by-week breakdown. So you can see that pretty much every single week we're going to cover a new chapter. So we're starting chapter 1. We're hitting the ground running. We're going to be covering chapter 1 this week, which means that we have a quiz and a discussion due this Sunday before midnight. So make sure you take care of those. So you'll see that is due pretty much every week, which means that we're going to get into a nice rhythm. We're going to get into this nice routine, and that'll help us prepare ourselves for each quiz and each discussion. The exam you'll see are going to be posted ahead of time as well. So, for example, on week 4, we will have our first exam. Usually what I do is I'll post those on Friday, so you can take it Friday, you can take it Saturday, or you can take it Sunday. You have plenty of time to take those exams. Whenever you open them up, you get about 90 minutes to complete them, so you have plenty of time to do those. But again, if you require any kind of accommodations, let me know. We'll work with that. I think that's pretty much it for the syllabus. Now let's check out the Play-Doh. So if you are mostly kind of new with Play-Doh, when you log in, this is what you'll see. You're going to click on your favorite class. Your favorite class this semester is going to be Sensation and Perception. So you're going to click on that, and the first thing you're going to see is going to be the announcement page. And so anytime I post any kind of like class-wide announcement, you'll get that information first. It's right there for you. You'll see it there. Usually whenever I have any kind of important announcements related to due dates or anything like that, I will make sure that it goes to your email as well. So that way, if there's anything big, it'll hit your email. You don't have to constantly log in every 5 minutes to check for announcements. The Contact Me page is going to tell you ways you can get in touch with me. The best way to do that is through email. I am a millennial just like you, so that means that I am addicted to my phone, which means that I'm constantly checking it for emails, and which creates a problem for this whole work-life balance that we're supposed to be doing. But it means that if you need anything, usually I can get to you within 24 hours if you email me. If you message me through Play-Doh, which I know some professors like, if you message me through Play-Doh, I don't get a notification about that on my phone, which means that sometimes it can be a little bit longer for me to get in touch with you. That's not intentional, it's just because I don't get that on my phone, just like you don't get it on your phone either. So the best way to get in touch with me is through email, but if you want to, you can post in the Ask Me Anything discussion forum. You can post a thread there, but everybody can see it. So if you are going to say, hey, Dr. Daniel, I got chicken pox, and I got chicken pox because I accidentally fell into a mud puddle and it was really embarrassing, you can email me that. Don't post that in front of the class unless you want the entire class to know that you got chicken pox. So you can do that there, or you can message me. But like I said, I prefer email. The online office, you can click there as well to end up in that chat room that I was talking about. So the course calendar, you'll find that it's the exact same thing you're going to find in your syllabus. The grades, holy moly, there's so many grades in this class, right? And the reason why there's so many grades is because I believe in giving you lots of opportunities. Whenever I was in college, I would always do really poorly on the first exam. And the reason for that is because I am just not super good at studying. And it would take until I saw the first exam to figure out how I could benefit from studying, to figure out how I should target my own study behaviors. And so this is basically designed to make one exam not be a super big deal. If you bomb the first exam, it's not a big deal because, as you can see, there are so many other opportunities to raise your grade, from these discussions to these research articles to these quizzes. So you'll find your grades there, and I like to try to keep those as current as possible. The Start Here course info tab, this is going to give you information related to our course. The syllabus video, as soon as I'm done and I hit save and upload this to YouTube, is going to pop in right here, which is why it's not working right now. And you'll find the other kind of documents that are kind of important here, like the syllabus, you'll find it here. The discussion rubric, what you need to do to make a 10 out of 10, you'll find it there. And the research assignment rubric, you'll find that also there to figure out what you need to do to make a 100 on that, in case you have any questions. And then the first thing that we're going to be doing this week is going to be starting with Chapter 1. I'm going to hide all this other stuff from you so that it's not overwhelming, and I'll unlock it as we go on. But Chapter 1, basically we got a quiz, we got a discussion, you have your lecture slides posted, and then whenever I finish recording the videos, I'm going to upload those here as well. And that's going to be the layout for every single week that we have. I like to keep this organized, to keep this as a routine, so that way you know exactly what to expect and how to expect it. So you can see that our first discussion, if you can read that, is basically going to be an icebreaker. So it's very simple. You're just going to go in, you're going to introduce yourself, you're going to talk a little bit about yourself, so that way we can get to know each other and you can get to know your classmates. So that's going to be all there. But sometimes, like when we look at Chapter 2, we'll see that is going to be a video that you need to watch, you need to reply to it. In Chapter 11, 11. In Chapter 11, there's going to be some lip reading activities that you can do. I'm going to let you watch a video clip and then test to see how well you can lip read. Lots of different varieties I'm trying to give you in these discussions. That way you can see how these things are applied to real life. And let's look at the research articles now. The research articles, these are basically going to be due before each exam. So for example, here you see research article 2 and it says due before exam number 2. So before exam number 2 is finished, you need to read this article and then post about it. So this particular article is about increased structural connectivity and grapheme color synesthesia. Oh no, you only know 3 of those words, right? I know these things are really dense and they can be really complicated. But I think that these are really cool for kind of seeing exactly how we know what we know about how the brain works. So these articles, there's only 4 of them this semester, but if you have any questions, let me know. You'll see that for each of these articles, they're going to have questions. So for this one, I'm going to be asking you about things specific to this article. What is the difference between one kind of synesthesia versus a different kind of synesthesia? What was the independent variable and the dependent variable in this article? Basically, you'll only need to choose only so many of these questions. I'll specify how many, so you don't have to write all of them. Usually it's going to be about answer 3 or 4 of these prompts. So that is the research articles. And then finally the exams. You'll find the exams in the exams tab, along with any kind of study guides that I put together for you. I'm going to be deleting these soon and starting from scratch. So this is going to be completely blank to you by the time you log in. But you'll find all that stuff there. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'd be happy to help however I can. And I think that's pretty much it. I tried to aim for 20 minutes, and I overshot by 2 minutes. Sorry about that. Like I said, I'm super excited to work with you this semester. I'm sorry that my webcam is not very good. I'm paler or I'm actually not as pale as I appear on this webcam. I will see you later online.